And we are live.
All right, guys, how's it going? This is Dustin Garman, and welcome to another episode of Tell Us About Yourself with my co-host.
TB. Me.
And today's featured guest is none other than Neko, Lauren Beth.
Lucky
You
cat.
may know her. Before we start today, I wrote a little handy dandy paper for you Blue Clues fans.
No. This is awesome.
I wanted to go over a few things before we start. Of course, keep the prayers for Bob Dunn. He's still recovering. Um, Also, this Saturday, they're having a veterans tournament, and that was actually created by Brock Carson and Chris Bridges. And remember, as they said, that veterans can only be in this active or non-active. That does not mean veteran players in Super Show. That means the ones that are actually fought and have been in the military. Just keep that in mind.
Even if your competitor is a veteran, it does not mean if you did not serve, you do not count.
Correct. So I salute that, and y'all have a hell of a time Saturday, guys. Also, I want to shout out Hold the Line Harry for the amazing CAC that he had in Atlanta. That was amazing, and it was wonderful to come back to. Also, congrats to Press 1P on the win. All right, guys. That's all I have as notes. Now, starting with Nico. How you doing?
Howdy. You doing good? Just got out of work. Feels really good to sit down. Thanks for
I'll
having me
stand up.
again.
Hey, no problem. Anytime. I'm always welcome to like I said, new or old players. I'm always welcome to.
Old.
Um,
Feel it in my bones.
Nobody ask her age in the Twitch. I swear.
Next.
They've been known to ask silly questions.
Neko is
Just check.
young 40-year-old is what Bombada says. And of course, Bombada starts off.
Thanks, Bamada. I love you
So,
too.
so Nico, I was sitting at work today, and I know I asked you a couple of days ago. I was like, "What topics would you want to go over?" Because we've had you on the show before, and of course, your Nico character it came out and such. I'm sitting at work, and all I can think about, and I'm going to give this as an example, and then I'm going to ask my question after, because you love cats.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm mainly a dog person. I do love cats, but
Hmm.
I like dogs more because I just been around dogs more.
Hmm.
Now, I did have this one cat, and he lived up to be 17. He was a Siamese named Sammy. Now, Sammy was cute, lovable, till you pissed him off. So, uh, during my school days, it's like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Little Sammy would run into my room, jump on the bed, and accidentally wake me up. Of course, well, I'm half asleep. I would brush him off sometimes. Well, if I pissed him off, the next morning he would literally like he had peed on something of mine. So he was really, I guess you can say, mischievous. You did not piss off Sammy. So my question to you is: Did have you ever had any cats that sort of liked payback in a way, or
Thank
did you
goodness that
always
is
have
where
both?
you actually went with that question because I was thinking you were going to take it somewhere horrible.
No.
It was funny because when he said you don't piss off Sammy, I was like, no, but Sammy pissed on you.
Correct. Yeah,
Um,
try telling your teacher, oh, instead of the dog ate my homework, my cat pissed on my homework. So anyway,
I I never had a cat that was very paybacky like that. I've always had cats that when I was young, yeah, I definitely got on their nerves quite a bit, but I was a kid. I didn't know the temperament of a cat when you're like 6 or 7 years old. So, but my cats never really got back at me.
Bad Bombada.
They just more like would let me know stop in their own way. Like sometimes the cat will nip at you or swat at you or hiss at you, and you're like, okay, all right, I'm going this way. Bye.
yeah, I was kind of just worried about that. I know it's a silly question, but it made me remind me of a cat that I once had,
That's
and
a
I
really good
miss it.
question. I've never had someone ask that question before, so it was an interesting first one.
Well, see, I've always heard, like cats can be mischievous sometimes. Sometimes
Mhm.
they knock off stuff. They have habits. So I was kind of curious if you ever dealt with that.
Yes, but they don't. So I did have one cat that was kind of mischievous like that. I talk about him a lot. He was a Siamese, just like Sammy. His name was Shui, which is why I'm really close to the new Marauder character called Shui, but I just say
Mhm.
Shui because mess what you all think. Uh, um, he just like Sammy every morning at 6:30 ish in the morning would always hop on my bed, meow, meow, meow. And it's like either I got up or I continued sleeping and he still meowed in my ear. So which one was I picking? Hear his meowing for the next hour or just get up and feed him dinner or breakfast?
I pray that's a cat canola. Fun fact: Thomas Kincaid was a territorial pisser. I really hope that's a cat.
And secondly, I was another thing I was going to ask is, what's your favorite breed? I mean, we've been talking about Siamese.
Um, wow. It's a really great question because I've never had more than one time of the same breed of cat. You know what I mean? Like I had one
Yeah.
Siamese. I've had a black and gray tabby. I've had I guess I technically have had two orange tabbies. So I guess it would, if you're thinking about all the different cat breeds I've had in my life, it would technically be an orange tabby. But I don't really have a favorite breed. Cats are cats. They're
Yeah.
gonna be the same thing, same temperament, and every cat I've ever had in a way I've let come to me, not the other way around.
All right. And Chivy, do you have any questions?
Oh, I've been waiting for this moment. Hey, Neko.
So scared. I've been scared since last night. He's like, "Oh, I got all the hard questions for Nico," and I'm like, "Mercy."
Ah! And Bombada has a bunch of things to throw at my head. All right, but Neko.
Yes,
So we know that you are originally from uh, up north, northeast.
Rhode Island. Yeah.
Rhode Island area. You are now currently in the middle of nowhere, which is also the same word for the Midwest coast.
Colorado.
Yep. Hey, I get it, Cannoli. You can stop throwing stuff at me. Rude.
How rude.
But what I'm getting at is, which of these areas do you feel in Super Show does Neko belong? Like, I know you have your personal friend group, which is which I'll get to in other questions, but where do you feel more at home?
It's definitely still going to be the East. I have lived in Rhode Island. I was born initially, surprisingly, in Massachusetts, which is one state north of Rhode Island. When I was 2, I moved down to Rhode Island and lived there until I was about 15 years old, and moved back to Massachusetts until I was 22, and then moved back to Rhode Island again. Fast forward a few years, I have now moved at the age of 29 to Colorado. It's been a really tough past year. I don't think this year was really that hard as last year, but and a lot of things happened, and I kind of wanted to take the opportunity to start over fresh in a different region. Just to, I'm still young. I'm not 40, but I'm not 19 either. So I really wanted to travel a little bit and like broaden my horizons than just the East. Like I've been to Florida. I've taken a few vacations in Florida. So I've been south. I've been to North Carolina before. I've had some family in North Carolina that I've visited. And so now I'm kind of
South?
what?
What? How is
What?
that south?
What?
Either way, continue.
Anyway, got me off my railroad track here. And I've
Derailed.
never been west. I think I've been to Kentucky once because I dated some guy in Kentucky once. Not anyone any of us know. But I wanted to travel further, but Rhode Island is still very much so my home. I've tried it out here and it's just not the same. It's, I can't just go to a bar and see the same people every week like I can back home.
Okay. So the next question, also going more in character. So in the lore of Lucky Cat Neko, she has become a student of a certain demon, along with the Norsemen also being a student. What deals have been done with this? He who shall not be named.
Their lore-wise, the storyline was, we started initially, this was in the previous episode. I think this somehow came up the last time in your prior episode with me, Dustin, on what the official story was.
Yes.
And it started as the Rhode Island Crew was its own promotion before RCW called RXT instead of NXT. It was Rhode Island Developmental Group instead of. Anyway, it was, we had all had shown some kind of rapport and strength that Void just eventually picked us up as people he wanted to teach. And as we developed our gimmicks, it started becoming more flavored. Like, Norseman wasn't always Norseman. He now is a king. King Bjorn died and then was possessed by Void at one point to then make the Norseman, and came in and destroyed the entire RXT group until he got to me and wiped through 8 of my 9 lives. And in exchange for luck, half of my luck, I wanted power to defeat Norsemen. Now it's kind of in a weird position because Brett Farias, who came out earlier this year and admitted that he was behind the gimmick, doesn't really want to be attached to that character anymore. Because for him, Void has negative annotations of who he used to be and how he used to think. So he's trying to reflush Void. I don't know if he's going to do it this year or the next upcoming year, but Brett does have a lot of things in real life that he's trying to take care of that are just a little bit more important than playing a card game. So, more to talk about that in the future.
That's kind of why I was not even saying Void thing. You opened the door.
I opened the door. Don't worry about it. It's fine. I think it's something he wanted people to know, but didn't really know how to tell people that it's happening. So that's why a lot of my gimmick has been on back burner again.
All right, so now we're going to go to a couple of questions in the audience and those in the Zoom. If you have any questions you would like to ask, please raise your hand. I will get to you and you can ask your question. So, BHS101 asks, has the cat ever suited up? I am very confused by this.
Right? Like suited up as in like a full-blown like loudmouth larynx suit, or like suited up as in like dressed up and like look
Like wrestling
formal.
gear?
Yeah, wrestling gear, not wrestling.
Like the cheetah look?
Have you ever put on your character's outfit?
Okay.
Yes, actually. There's a few arts, especially on the one that's bow to 1 now, bow to 1 alt art. It has a picture of Norseman kneeling and handing me over the tri-state title. I have showed up in that same attire for Origins of 2021. I've also showed up to that suit in Highlander. Oh, I just saw it.
Yeah, no. Okay, he is making a How I Met Your Mother joke. I pegged you a little higher than that, Schmidt.
Game over, man.
I am now sad that you took that up. Okay, Neko, have you ever worn a 2-piece suit?
No.
All right. His other question: snake or pineapple?
Wow. Uh-oh. The heel in me wants to say snake.
Gotta eat.
Snake's gotta eat.
And I do know that one of the questions that Cannoli likes asking is like cannoli or anything else. Italian Bambata asks horse or shark.
He's making me choose.
Of course he makes you choose.
I feel like I like the horse because the shark always gets too hot and he disappears randomly. So horse.
The horse head just comes off.
It just, freeform.
Okay. So, my next question is, why did you decide to become a chief?
It's you have really good questions.
Of course I do.
You meant what you said.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not to anyone's imagination. I am a closeted anime fan, and the chibi art style is very, very popular in any Japanese art culture. And the second I saw that Heather had started doing chibi arts, Bob the Brain Done, you included, Shaggy Shark, it just was like I need that. Like that's the next all art. 9 times out of 10, I don't care what anybody's got to say, and I was going to be very upset if Heather couldn't do it.
Well, of course she could do it. And
The best.
yes. You have, if people haven't seen the artwork, the character art is right above her as we were talking about it. But the entire competitor card has her placed as the Neko on a store shelf. It's quite entertaining. It's cute, and the finishers now look 100% better.
It's true.
Yeah, with some of her good friends in all of them, which is very good.
I think I've gotten a lot more questions on the finished submission than any of them because they're confused on Swaggy D's placement of his face. Even though you can see that his ears and his legs and his arms are flat down, they still think he's up for some odd reason.
Because people are just assuming you're sitting on his actual face, not squishing him into the ground.
Yep, no, I'm squishing him into the mat.
Right, we have a few other questions now asked, even though seriously, get better questions because this seems like a stupid one. Mitt asks, cat or dog?
Cat. Dummy.
Oh, okay. Sorry, that's cat or cheetah. I think it says it's a leopard, but there's no reason for him to have a leopard. So I'm assuming cat or cheetah.
I'm getting scared of this question. Hey, Smith, I don't wear a two-piece.
Still cat.
Okay, that is a cheetah. Even though it says leopard on the emoji, it is your fake for a cheetah. So yes, yourself or bigger or slightly more bigger cat, but not really that good of a cat. The cheetahs are weird.
Yeah, they're cuddly. They can be, but I will still take a cat every single day of the week. I prefer to keep my face where it is.
Now Bombada is asking for kids.
Need one of these.
It still don't matter. All right, Italian Bombada asking the hard-hitting question: better faction war leader, the Cheetah or Eddie Fury?
You just swallowed my drink wrong.
Good cover. Take as much time as
Eddie Fury.
Did you hear that? Jeopardy music.
Do 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 do. So Cheetah will always be my best friend in the whole wide world, and I hope this does not hurt his feelings. I could not do another year of faction wars with them. I've told him this physically. We've had our backside chat. It doesn't need to be anybody else's dirty laundry. We are still very much good friends, but it's Eddie still, I think, is my favorite captain so far.
Are you looking forward to Faction Wars? We just got in the Faction Wars 0 setup, and the first round is barely beginning. Have you gotten any of those matches?
No, only because I didn't find out till late last night, but that's because Eddie Fury also works in the postal office, so sometimes he's there all day. So it's very understandable, but he at least keeps up that line of communication and said, hey, don't worry, I'll get you the names by tonight. You guys can make your chats, do whatever you need to. Here's the due date. It's been great. Haven't gotten any dates set for matches yet, but I'm also still busy working at the tennis shop, so it's going to be one of those things where it's going to be a lot of talking.
And now we have a in Zoom question from Bombada. If you'll unmute and ask your question.
Neko.
Bombada!
My question is, have you been? I'm not saying the word.
I mean, you can. Chibi's channel is not PG-13. But yes, I have been naughty. Give me a lump of coal for Christmas, Santa. Best card in his Lucky Cat Neko deck right there.
All right. Schmidt is asking, have you strung a racket for anyone famous?
It's hard to say. Not
In
really.
the middle of nowhere.
Not famous, but a lot of pros do play in Denver, Colorado. So yes, I've had the odd few professionals and even people who teach tennis to the youth come in, and I've strung their rackets, and they've played in tons of tournaments like the US Open, or Wimbledon is another French tournament that's like an all-white tournament. Not my strong suit, white.
Okay.
Not racist, I promise.
And
And
we have
that-
a question from the Dark Prince.
Yep. Go ahead and unmute.
Oh, what's up, there, Neko?
Hey, kiddo, what's up?
Simple question I need to ask you.
Sure.
Not much. If you sorry about that, Chip.
right.
If you were in WWE, or if you were in any company and you were going after the tag titles, who would be your tag team partner, and which company would you go for?
I don't know too much about the different companies, so forgive me on that part. And a lot of like my favorite wrestlers don't wrestle anymore. But one of my all-time favorites, and that's actually who I got my finished strike art from, is Kairi Sane. I always loved her costumes. I loved the way she wrestled, and I just love how she flew through the air whenever she did that insane elbow drop off the top turnbuckles. So I would tag with Kairi Sane or Asuka. Asuka still wrestles. She's still pretty up
Both
there.
of them
One
still
of my favorites.
wrestle.
Kairi
Yeah.
Sane still wrestles, really?
Yeah.
Shocked.
Yeah.
Pikachu face.
I mean, you can see the shock in your face.
Yeah, it's legit me. Wow. Yeah, it would be Kyrie. I don't know what company I would go after necessarily, but like NXT, I used to watch a lot of like when I first started in this community.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. Thank you, Dark Prince, for that question.
No
right.
problem.
So, getting back into other in-universe questions. Right now, you only have one tag. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Do we have any other tag teams in the works potentially coming out?
Not in the works. I have definitely talked to
even
a few
fantasy
people about.
One that if you could have another tag team card come out.
Yes. Brett and I have always talked about making tag teams for him, and all of the tag team names would be different genres of metal bands. So like him and I would be Kawaii Metal, because Japanese metal's nickname is Kawaii Metal.
Mm-hmm.
Or Baby Metal. It's both. They're both the same meaning. I really always wanted to be on a tag team with Norseman. He's much so like an older brother to me, and we wanted to name it the Disciples. Especially after bonding over being voids to pupils, we thought it would be a really good idea. It was in between the Disciples and the Hunting Team. We just didn't know which one we were going to go for. But and then there's the Fantasy Trio team that Chibi definitely knows about.
Oh,
but I wanted to have my Chibi character, your Chibi character, and Shaggy Shark all on the first ever Chibi arted trios. Yeah.
Which would be a lot of fun, if not just a lot of work.
it's going to be a lot of work because we all have very different gimmicks.
Okay. So we answered future. I know one that could happen. Okay. Knows some that could happen.
I know that one too, but he's bad at keeping secrets.
So we have that. But how did your original tag come about? Because it's a cute tag team, but it's one of those that it's just like,
It's awkward.
it's like how did those two characters come to be besides just being cute together?
That's definitely a Prince Butters question.
Oh.
There was just one year I remembered that he was thinking about making a tag team between Rainbow Girl and Unicorn Princess. And that was all well and good, and I never asked that, like, instead of doing those two, put me on there just to put that out there into the universe. But I think that year I think it was like the beginning of 2021 or the end of 2020 when that one came out. But 2020 was an omega rough year. Like, COVID was still very rampant, kept us all at bay. The Grand Gathering that was going to be my first ever one got canceled. So, that was how Faction Wars began. So a lot of times it was me missing the physical interaction and seeing all these other people, like their card stores are open up. Rhode Island got really rough in COVID and everything shut down, and it was the worst depression year I've ever had. And I think out of the kindness of Prince Butter's heart, he threw me on that tag team together. And just neither of us knew, because Neko wasn't out before that tag team, what my gimmick would actually be. So we kind of we kind of gave it a little bit to Boss a little bit. We kind of asked for his help, not knowing what Neko would be. And I think with me coming out in my finishers, it kind of sort of works a little bit. The
only skill or the only other keyword I would expect would be luck.
Yeah. And I didn't even know if I wanted to do that because in 2020, the only lucky card that was in the whole game was Lucky Shot. Yeah. And I didn't want it to be hinging on one card in the game.
Also, that the art that you that of you of Kitty Corn is just very, very odd.
It's very alien-like. But again, I didn't know how to describe my character in art style. I didn't really have an outfit set in stone then. The black with the red skirt didn't really come until a little bit after that. So I think the artist did the best that they could, and I still like the art.
Oh yeah, it's a very fun card. Also, I did hear down the pipeline that there are finishers finally coming for it, the full set.
I don't know. I haven't talked to Butters in quite a while. Another Butters question.
Okay.
I know that there's a grapple out, and that's all I know.
That was the one that originally. Along with her shiny spear, stompy stomp.
Yeah.
All right, so we are at about the halfway point, folks. If you have any other questions that you would like to get in, please get them in before we get too close to the ending, because of course at the ending we turn the tables and Neko gets to ask us a couple of questions.
I didn't.
That's usually when I'm scared.
Whoa.
Finished stuff was made on Expanding the Universe. Oh well, there we go. That's why it was just down the pipeline, because it literally just got made. All right. Schmidt asks other questions. Favorite snack food?
Favorite snack food?
Catnip. No.
That is not good for cats to eat. Cats get sick when they eat that.
And ironically, like almost every single time someone comes into a zoo room, I've always said something along the lines like I should have had half, or I should have not had it, or
See, so those are snackies. Those are not snacks.
You're right. They are snackies. I really like rice cakes. I've tried to have a better diet out here in Colorado since I moved, since I do a lot of walking. So I've tried to change up the diet from like processed foods into like slightly healthier snacks. I like the low sodium rice cakes, and I like to take just like a very thin layer of like peanut butter on the top of it, and that's like my favorite snack.
One thing I started doing was kind of like like dressings for like salads. I started making my own homemade like vinaigrettes, and I love them.
Whoa,
You
that's
have to look them
super.
up. I have to send you some recipes.
Horace wants to know how you say Dunkin' Donuts.
Donkeys.
Oh, sorry, my dog got up here.
No, it's okay.
And then he asks, what events are you planning to attend in 2020?
Well, Captain Con is certainly the confirmed 1000% going. I am looking at Grand Gathering 3. I will be very, very honest. It is a month and a week after Captain Con, and unfortunately, my job does not give PTO. So it's very likely that I will not, but I am super trying very early to save money aside just for Grand Gathering. So I'm definitely trying. But so far, those are the only two.
And where is Capicon? Like, where's that usually at?
It's in
Again?
Warwick, Rhode Island, in the Crown Hotel Plaza. It's held in the event is held literally in. It's connected to the hotel, and the best part about it is there's a bus that's made to take you from TF Green Airport, which is the main airport in Rhode Island, from the airport to Warwick. So if anyone needed a ride there, not only are any of the Rhode Island crew happy to pick you up, but there is a bus that will take you as well. That's free of charge.
Nice.
Donkeys, yes, normalize donkeys.
Trending word of the week.
Donkeys,
not.
donkeys, donkeys.
We got Usi going on in the WWE. Now we got donkeys going on in the LFF.
Make it a thing. Make it a thing.
No.
Your next tag team.
No.
Donkeys. It's gonna
So-
be me and Brit.
You've been donkeys. Oh.
Ooh. Ooh, I don't know how I like that.
Okay. I've been. That is worse than any chair shot I have taken so far.
Speaking of chair shots.
No. Oh, that was not chairs. That was a bunch of paper cuts.
You're welcome.
No, those
Or-
hurt. How could
Cat scratch.
Cat scratch
you
fever.
hurt so much?
Bow.
Okay. So I did have one last question that I really.
Uh-oh. Please.
Will we ever see an evolution to like the dark Neko cat that has the powers of the void fully realized? Will we see the black cat Neko, the unlucky cat? Will we-
Yes. You guys have technically already seen her. I will not repeat the name. I will let everyone else's brains do the work for them. But you guys have
Well, I
technically
mean, it was
seen her
one
already.
promo, Neko. It was literally one promo.
What promo? I don't know what you're talking about. I
It
never
was
made
at
a promo.
It was at the end of an episode of like Sunday Night Fights or something. It was very, very obscure, and it wasn't even saved. How
Yeah,
are people
no.
going to know?
Listen, because that's Schmidt's fault, and I keep telling him he's gotta activate the fact that he needs to archive all of his streams to his channel
Hear
so
that,
that way we
Schmidt?
can access it.
Fix
The
it.
only the only thing that's running through my head right now, y'all said black cat and stuff. I'm thinking of the black cat off the Scary Movie too.
I mean, so I give you guys about one Mississippi. Ready?
The one that beats up the
One
girl.
Mississippi. Done.
I mean, that couldn't even be seen because of how dark your camera was during that.
Oh, don't. Okay, well, I'll give you another Mississippi. Jesus, ready? One Mississippi, two Mississippi. There you go.
Give it 2 minutes. Yay.
Yeah. I was very gracious with that.
Well, yeah, but we've seen the character. I'm asking, will we see a card of it?
Eventually, probably not within the year.
Well, the year's only 2 months.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, definitely not within 2023.
Oh.
I'm trying to move back home, back to the east. So a lot of budget is going to be for cons and savings to move back home because Denver, Colorado ain't for Neko. Mountains ain't for me.
I've always wanted to take a trip there, though.
It's definitely trip worthy. You can talk to Matt Barone. We've had so many conversations about how cool they have so many cool things out here. The food's great. Just not the seafood because you're inland, of course, but like mountains. You don't see mountains in the east every day. You see ocean. And it's the opposite here. You see mountains. It's, beautiful. It's always sunny, even in springtime. Today was a balmy 75 degrees.
If we get 3 subs, Neko picks the first song on the rewind this week. That sounds like a very bad thing.
I mean, I could always just pick the first song anyway because I pay you.
So there you go.
I pay you with my subscription every time.
And we do love the rewind. How many more weeks are we at? We're at like 6 weeks left. 7 weeks?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
Grant,
sad.
how many weeks do we still got?
7, 6, one of those.
A number that is less than 10.
Yeah, definitely less than 10 weeks. I think 11 was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. 5.
5
Ooh.
weeks.
Mm.
Okay, I missed a week somewhere.
Catnip.
No, fire bad.
Fire good.
Fire bad on screen.
Fire. Fine. I'll put it away.
Okay. Now just the sillier questions. So Neko, once you do make your move back, what titles are you going to be trying to snag?
The Tri-State, for sure. I want that back.
You're going to try to steal it again and take it with you somewhere?
I mean, like, I've made my plea to the boss. I still have a Rhode Island valid license. It is not expired until 2024. 2024 is when I'm technically no longer a Tri-State resident. So John Polverino still owes me. He knows it. I let him get away with murder in that fatal 4-way, and Chippy knows it too.
Oh, don't remind me about that.
John Polverino owes me. I have to wait on the boss because it's the boss who decides the shots.
Yeah. Think the boss is going to give you a shot after you pull that kind of shit with him?
I don't know. He said he'd take anybody with the valid Tri-State license, and my license is still valid in Tri-State.
Oh, that you suck. Oh.
10 of them, too. Wow.
Why did you guys throw them all at my head?
You're the only valid target.
It is a very large target. All right. Dustin, you got any other questions?
Yes, moving forward, I know you were talking about Capicon and you were talking about Grand Gathering and stuff like that. Who are some people that you would still love to meet in person?
I mean, you, Dustin, I've never seen you in real life yet, and I haven't seen Chibi in real life yet. You two are still people I hope every single time I ever have to go anywhere, I'm like, please.
I'm a little hard to see in real life. I haven't made these 3D setups
Sorry, you're
yet.
right. Paul Trejo is someone.
Oh yeah. You'll probably eventually see him sometime.
I got one question though. How tall are you?
I'm 5'2.5".
Okay, cool. I'm not much taller than.
Why did you launch the seals?
7 seals.
Those seals hurt.
Go Heather.
I was fixing to say, if you're any taller, like, you won't see me anyway because I'm short.
Cannoli's kind of short, but I think we're almost like literally the same height. Like,
he's taller than me. I found that out like in Atlanta.
Oh,
He's literally I'm only like
then he's
5'4".
grown a little. That's awesome. Oh, courtesy of the cat. But Bobby O is another one I've yet to see in real life. I would love to like get pictures and like play a real game with him because like every single time we've ever played
wears
one on
lips.
Zoom,
Oh, dear
it's
God.
fun. He wears lips. It's so rude.
He's not here to defend himself. He was here earlier.
Nice. Jonathan Thew is another one I've yet deigned to see in like a real life event of some kind. So like that's another one. I hope
So
to God
just
I
throw
see
the
him.
entirety of the line.
No, not really, because I've seen Jeremy Steigerwald. He's been to Captain Con last year. So he's definitely, and I've seen Cannoli at Origins of 2021. So
But you hadn't seen his roommate that owes him rent money.
you're right. No, Uberstar was there too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was the one who he gained Gimmick of the Year, I believe, right? Yeah. What a gimmick.
Okay.
He lets me take naps.
Uberstar lets you take naps.
Yeah, that was the best thing I've said at Captain Con was he looked around and he's like, and I want to thank you, but not you, and not you, and not you. And then he looks at me and he stops and he goes, except Lucky Cat Neko. I'll thank Lucky Cat Neko. I like her. And I'm like, yeah, I like you too. You let me take naps. And everyone in the room died. They were like, what? And I was like, yeah, he doesn't yell. He disappears and travels through space, and it's nice and quiet sometimes. He lets me take naps.
I mean, he does come out and go, "Ah."
Yeah, but by then I'm either well caffeinated or well catnipped.
Coffee.
Red Bull. Kathy.
So are we going to get a Lucky Cat necklace with a bottle of Red Bull in the hand and wings?
Yes. So strong, they give me wings.
Well, too bad you have a bunch of kids. You don't get to that.
Poor Schmidt.
So we got.
He's got
would
kids.
like this. How about this? It's a question that I've used a long time back. But if you were stuck in a birdcage with 5 people, who would those 5 be?
Oh my gosh. Can I tell you why? Could I tell you the reason why I would pick these 5 people?
Oh, of course.
Okay. Excellent. Big Match Pete.
Okay.
TJ Marconi. I have to keep track. There's myself. Norseman.
That's a lot of bands.
Who else was in there? I think it was GM DeMello. And then there was one other person that I can't remember, and I feel very guilty. So I'm gonna throw another random name in there, and I'm gonna say Bobby O. The first 5, right? The first like 5 people, including myself, was because when I first joined in PAX East of 2020, right before COVID hit, we went to the panel that they had there, and we were sat down in a bird cage to have some fun and to teach me more rules of the game. And it was like TJ was sitting across from me, and then Big Match Pete was actually teaching the bird cage. And then DeMello was there and Norseman was there. And it's so funny, but Norseman was trying to get me to win the whole bird cage, like first newbie to win a bird cage kind of thing. I looked him dead in the eyes and was like, I know you can't stop this. Finish submission, no other submission play. Knocked him out of the bird cage. So it was me, one other person, and Big Match Pete. And I think Big Match Pete knocked me out, but it was just hilarious. He was like, I was trying to get you to win. I would have let you win.
I don't need anyone to help me win.
I would want to do that all over again. Harry was at Origins 21? What? Did I not see him? That was a wild year.
That was a lot of cat.
was a lot of catnip to go.
All right, so we are just about out that time. So, Neko, if you would like to ask 2 questions to Dustin and then 2 questions.
2 questions. I've been so good
Ooh.
I get 2.
That's my lucky number.
Wow. I'll try to make it a little easier and condense them. I'm a super video game nerd. I'm also a super anime nerd. So I guess I'll separate these into 2 questions. What's your favorite video game ever in your whole life? What's your favorite we'll say cartoon, because some animes turned into cartoons eventually. So we'll say cartoon and favorite video game.
Okay.
Good
I'm probably
questions!
it's all over the place because I play all kinds of stuff. But probably the most I played during my school days back then was probably like the Saints Row series. I like those. I do play a lot of fantasy. Like now I'm playing Elden Ring or whatever it's called. I just downloaded it not long ago. I'm trying to get into it.
Have fun.
So
It's a long game.
So anime cartoons or cartoons?
It we'll say if you like anime cartoons, we'll stick with anime cartoons, but if you can't think of one to stick with, we'll divulge to cartoons.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I've never seen anime.
So then we'll divulge to regular cartoons.
But my girlfriend loves that stuff and she's fixing to introduce me to it. So we'll see.
What's the first one? Then I'll change the question. What's the first one she's gonna have you watch?
Yeah.
You don't even know.
I don't know. But I'm just getting ready for it.
Nice.
But if you can just go regular cartoons, I mean, of course, regular cartoons for me, it's a tie. And it's actually a tie from childhood. I always loved Courage the Cowardly Dog. And probably Ed, Edd and Eddie.
Yes!
Those were my 2 childhood favorites.
Cartoon.
Well, yeah, Cartoon Network. So good. Chibi,
Yeah.
what's your video game? And I definitely know you watch anime. Don't even try to hide it.
So my favorite video game has changed quite often since I've been in the show, from when I was. But overall, I have always loved the Harvest Moon series / Story of Seasons.
Yes, he even knows what they're called now.
Oh, because I knew what they were called.
Yeah, sure.
But I started with the original SNES version one, and I enjoyed all of those. And then it got to the point where it's like, wait, the games have changed. Oh, that's what happened. Okay.
Natsumi and Harvest Moon Company split.
But those are the games that I like. The games where I can just play it by myself, enjoy myself, and yeah, I'm really bad at shooters, like ridiculously bad at them.
Yeah.
And I played too much League of Legends back in the day. I am not good in comp stuff because I rage. I rage way too much.
So basically, the basic Call of Duty and stuff like that, you don't play.
I don't play them purposely just because I am a very bad shot, and I am a much more vocal loser. For animes, favorite anime. Once again, those have definitely changed as I've grown.
They usually do.
Because back in the day, I enjoyed the old school, the original Dragon Balls, your Yu-Gi-Oh, which got me into kind of card gaming minus your Pokemon. I mean, Dustin, you've never seen Pokemon before?
No, I was a Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh, well, Yu-Gi-Oh is an anime. Lucky for you.
Ah. Well,
There we
not
go.
bad.
But yeah,
Yay!
we had those. Nowadays, if it's an anime that I would go back and rewatch, it'd probably be something like Kono.
Oh, Suba's good too. So you like the slice of life?
Oh,
kinda esque?
I am a very big fan of slice of life of these isekais that gets crazier and crazier every single season. We now have one where I have been reincarnated as a sword.
There's a sword now. It's not like they
Yeah, no.
finally finished slime.
I have been, yes, it's I was reincarnated as slime. Now the new one is I am reincarnated as a sword. That one, it just got turned into an anime recently. Soon we are going to get the one that is I have been reincarnated into a vending machine inside of a dungeon. I shit you not.
What? It's such a long title. It's like
Oh
you
no,
fall
it's
asleep.
even longer than that in Japanese. I
Yeah.
have thoroughly just drank it as much as possible because
Yeah.
it's literally he becomes a vending machine in a dungeon.
Yeah, because I don't think vending machine is a word in Japan, so they have to probably at the end of that you just hear vending machine.
But yeah, no, those are always fun just because they're a lot of laughs. And yeah, slice of life ones are always very very fun.
Nice.
I got a lot to learn.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, it is
You
a
don't-
very deep rabbit hole.
Yeah, yeah, and it's unfortunate because if it's an anime that's not finished yet, Dustin, you're just gonna have to wait till next week to see the next one.
Oh, that is another one that I really like. I really like Full Metal.
Full Metal Panic.
Oh, I named one that she doesn't.
Wow, yeah, you did. I'm like shocked because like I know most.
You
like,
might have seen some scenes from their secondary anime, which was Famofu. Oh, I get to show her things after this.
I gotta retire.
But folks, with that, we are just about out of time. Dustin, who do we have for next week?
Next week, and also correct me if I'm wrong, Chibi, after I get done saying this. It's just where I've been going for a little bit. Next week's guest is going to be Ron Hu the third.
Yeah.
Is he a newer player or
Relatively newer player in the grand
Okay.
scheme of
It's
Because,
great.
like, for me, just coming back, I had never heard, I don't know him, but of course, the show, tell us about yourself. That's what we're all about.
You're gonna learn about.
So he hit me up and he's scheduled for next week. Also, moving forward, we're going to keep having guests, and guests are going to start getting even spicier. You'll see the more you keep watching. That's all I'm going to say.
Sounds good. Well, Neko, once again, thank you so much for your time. We
Thanks
loved
for
having
having
you
me.
on. We loved having you answer questions. And I guess, can we get a bye, man?
Bye, man.
See you next time.
See you guys.